For 7 years, a billionaire's daughter lived trapped in silence. Her father owned half the city, but he couldn't buy her a single sound. The best doctors in the world examined her, specialists from Germany, Japan, Switzerland, millions of dollars spent. Zero results. Then one afternoon, a poor 7-year-old girl with no medical training stopped on a sidewalk, looked at her ear, and saw what every expert missed. In less than 2 minutes, she pulled out something that changed everything. The billionaire's daughter heard her first sound. Ever. But what that little girl pulled out of her ear, that's when everything got dark. Because it wasn't a medical problem. Someone put it there. On purpose. And when they found out who, it destroyed everyone in that room. Before we continue, subscribe to this channel right now and comment below where you're watching from. Because what happens next will make you question who you trust around your own family. Let me take you back to where it all started. The delivery room was loud. Machines beeped, doctors moved fast. Nurses called out numbers. But when the baby came out, everything stopped. No cry. The mother's chest heaved, waiting. The father stood frozen at her side, staring at the tiny body in the doctor's hands. The baby's eyes were open. Wide. Staring at the bright lights above her. But her mouth didn't move. "Why isn't she crying?" the mother whispered. A nurse stepped closer, snapping her fingers near the baby's ear. Nothing. She clapped her hands. Still nothing. The doctor's face went tight. "We need to run some tests." The father, one of the richest men in the state, felt his throat close up. He'd built hotels, owned companies, controlled boardrooms with a single look, but right now he couldn't control the shaking in his hands. They ran tests for hours. Auditory response, neural pathways, brain scans. Every result came back the same. The doctor finally walked into the waiting room, clipboard in hand. His voice was soft, too soft. "Sir, your daughter is healthy, strong, but she's not responding to any sound." The mother covered her mouth. "What does that mean?" the father asked. "She can't hear." The words hung in the air like smoke. "At all?" The doctor shook his head. "We don't know why yet. But right now, no, she can't hear anything." That night, the father sat alone in the hospital room. His daughter was asleep in the small crib beside him, wrapped in white blankets. He whispered her name. She didn't move. He said it louder. Nothing. He stood up, leaning over the crib, and spoke directly into her ear. "Can you hear me? Please, baby. Please, hear me." Her tiny chest rose and fell, peaceful, unaware. He sat back down, head in his hands. His wife was asleep across the room, exhausted from labor. The nurses had left them alone. For the first time in his life, the billionaire felt powerless. He could buy anything, fix anything, make calls that changed entire industries overnight, but he couldn't make his daughter hear his voice. He pulled out his phone and started searching. Specialists, surgeons, experimental treatments, anything. The screen blurred as his eyes filled with tears. He wiped them away fast, like someone might see. Then he looked back at his daughter. She was staring at the ceiling, eyes wide and curious, watching shadows move across the walls. She looked so calm, so perfect. But inside him, something had broken. "I'll fix this," he whispered. "I don't care what it takes. I'll fix this." The baby blinked slowly, her tiny hand curling into a fist, and the father made a promise he didn't know he couldn't keep. Not with money, not with power, not with anything he had. The only thing that would save her was something he'd never see coming. A little girl with no wealth, no name, and a gift no doctor could explain. But that was years away. For now, all he had was silence. In public, the billionaire never flinched. Boardrooms, press conferences, charity galas. He stood tall, shoulders back, face carved from stone. But at home, he was falling apart. Every morning, he walked into his daughter's nursery before work. She'd be awake, staring at the mobile above her crib, watching the shapes spin in silence. He'd lean over and say, "Good morning, sweetheart," She never turned her head. He'd clap his hands, snap his fingers, play music from his phone right next to her ear. Nothing. His assistant started noticing things. Coffee left untouched, meetings he zoned out of, phone calls he forgot to return. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked one afternoon. He looked up from his desk, eyes hollow. "I'm fine." He wasn't. At night, after his wife went to bed, he'd sit in his office with the door locked. Medical reports spread across his desk, audiology charts, brain scans, research papers. He read everything: cochlear implants, gene therapy, experimental surgeries in Europe. He called specialists in the middle of the night, offering whatever they wanted. Double their salary, triple it. Just tell me you can help her. But every conversation ended the same way. "We'll do our best, but there are no guarantees." His hands would shake when he hung up. One night, his wife found him in the nursery at 3 a.m., sitting on the floor beside the crib. "You need to sleep," she said softly. "I can't." "She's fine. She's healthy." "She can't hear me," he said, voice cracking. "I tell her I love her every day and she has no idea." His wife knelt beside him, taking his hand. "She knows," she whispered. "She feels it." He wanted to believe that, but it didn't stop the ache in his chest. He started avoiding friends, stopped going to dinners, canceled trips. His business partners called, concerned. "You've missed 3 meetings this week. I'll be there next time." But he wasn't. One afternoon he was sitting in traffic, staring at nothing, when a car next to him rolled down its window. A toddler in the back seat waved at him, giggling. The father waved back. Then the toddler's mom said something, and the kid turned around, laughing at whatever she'd said. The billionaire's throat tightened. That kid could hear his mom's voice. His daughter never would. He pulled over to the side of the road and sat there for 20 minutes, gripping the steering wheel, trying not to break down. When he finally got home, his daughter was in the living room with a nanny playing with blocks. He sat down on the floor beside her. She looked up at him and smiled. That smile hit him harder than any business loss ever had. She didn't know. She didn't know what she was missing. And maybe that was worse. He reached out and touched her tiny hand. "I'm going to fix this," he whispered. "I swear." But deep down, for the first time in his life, he didn't believe his own words. He'd conquered everything, built empires, crushed competitors, shaped skylines, but he couldn't give his daughter the one thing she needed most: a single sound, and it was destroying him from the inside out. The billionaire flew in specialists from everywhere: Germany, Japan, Switzerland, Boston, the best ears, nose, and throat doctors in the world. They came with leather briefcases and confident smiles, ready to solve what others couldn't. But one by one, they all said the same thing. The first specialist was from London. He ran tests for 3 days straight: brain scans, hearing tests, neural imaging. On the 4th day, he sat down with the parents in his temporary office. "Her auditory nerves aren't responding. There's no damage we can see. They just don't work." The father leaned forward. "So fix them." The doctor hesitated. "Sir, it's not that simple." "Make it simple. I'll pay whatever it costs." "It's not about money. The nerves are intact, but they're not transmitting signals. We don't know why." The billionaire's jaw tightened. "Then find out why." The doctor looked down at his notes. "I'm sorry. I wish I had better news." The second specialist came from Tokyo. She was younger, sharper, known for impossible cases. She spent 2 weeks running different tests. New technology, advanced equipment. Same result. "I've seen cases like this before," she said carefully. "Sometimes the brain just doesn't process sound. We don't have a cure yet." "Yet?" the father repeated. "Maybe in 10 years, 20. But right now, I don't have 20 years." She nodded slowly. "I understand." The third doctor was American. Stanford, top of his field. He didn't sugarcoat anything. "Sir, I've reviewed everything. Your daughter's case is what we call idiopathic hearing loss. That means we don't know the cause." "So guess." "I can't. And even if I could, there's no surgery that would help. No implant that would work. Her nerves won't carry the signal." The billionaire stood up. "You're telling me there's nothing?" "I'm telling you the truth. Get out." The doctor gathered his files and left quietly. The father tried 14 more specialists after that. Some suggested experimental drugs. Others mentioned trials happening overseas. One doctor said, "Maybe it's better to accept this early. Help her adjust instead of chasing hope." The billionaire nearly threw him out of the house. He wasn't giving up. He funded research labs, donated millions to hearing loss foundations, hired private scientists to study his daughter's case specifically. But nothing changed. One night, a surgeon from Switzerland called him. "I've been reviewing your daughter's file," he said, "and I need to be honest with you." "Go ahead." "There's no medical error here. No blockage, no tumor, no infection. Her auditory system just doesn't respond. And I've seen thousands of cases. This one, I can't help." The billionaire sat in silence. "I'm sorry," the surgeon continued. "I know that's not what you want to hear." "No, it's not. Sometimes. The answers we're looking for don't exist yet." The call ended. The billionaire sat alone in his office, staring at the wall. He'd thrown money at the problem, brought in the smartest people on earth, and they'd all failed. Not because they didn't care, but because they didn't know. His daughter was healthy, strong, beautiful, but trapped in silence, and no amount of wealth could break her free. He didn't know that the answer wasn't in a lab. It wasn't in a medical journal. It wasn't in the hands of a trained professional. It was in the hands of a little girl who hadn't even been born yet. A girl with no money, no training, no reason to help, except one. She could feel things others couldn't, and one day she'd feel exactly what was wrong. The billionaire's daughter turned 3, then 4, then 5. She grew into a quiet child, observant, gentle. While other kids ran around screaming and laughing, she sat on the edge of playgrounds, watching. Her father built her the biggest playroom money could buy: swings, slides, a treehouse with cushioned floors. But she rarely smiled there. She liked picture books, the ones with no words, just images she could understand without needing sound. Her parents hired the best sign language teachers, speech therapists, specialists who worked with deaf children. She learned fast, picked up signs quicker than expected. But learning wasn't the problem. Belonging was. Other kids came over for play dates. Their parents were friends of the billionaire, trying to be supportive. The kids would run up to her shouting, "Want to play tag?" She'd stare at their lips, trying to piece together what they were saying. They'd repeat it, louder, like volume was the issue. She still didn't respond. Eventually, they'd give up and run off to play with each other. She'd stand by the fence, watching them laugh at jokes she couldn't hear. One day, her father found her sitting on the front steps of the mansion, chin in her hands, staring at the street. He sat down beside her. "What are you thinking about?" he signed. She pointed at a kid riding by on a bike. The kid was singing. Badly. Off key. But singing. "I want to do that," she signed back. Her father's chest tightened. "You can ride a bike. I'll get you one right now." She shook her head. "Not the bike." She pointed at the kid's mouth. Her father understood. She didn't want the bike. She wanted the song. He pulled her close, and she rested her head on his shoulder. At school, it was worse. The teachers tried. They really did. But the other kids didn't understand. They'd wave at her. She'd wave back. Then they'd say something, and she wouldn't respond. They'd think she was ignoring them. "She's weird," one kid said. "She doesn't talk," another added. "She wasn't weird. She was just different, and different felt like the loneliest word in the world. During recess, she'd sit under a tree, watching everyone else play. Sometimes a teacher would sit with her, trying to keep her company. But pity wasn't friendship. One afternoon, she pressed her hand against the classroom window during a thunderstorm. She felt the glass shake, felt the vibration of the thunder rolling through the air. That's how she experienced sound, through feeling, through movement. But it wasn't the same. She knew it wasn't the same. At night, her mother would tuck her in, kissing her forehead. "I love you," her mother would say out loud, then sign it. The girl would sign it back. But when her mother left and closed the door, the girl would stare at the ceiling, wondering what "I love you" actually sounded like. Did it sound warm? Soft? Like a hug? She'd never know. Her father checked on her every night. Sometimes twice. He'd stand in the doorway watching her sleep, praying for a miracle he didn't believe in anymore. She wasn't sad because she was deaf. She was sad because everyone else had something she didn't. A voice, a laugh, a connection. She wanted to belong, but the world didn't know how to let her in. And so she stayed on the outside, watching life happen to everyone else. Until the day everything changed, until the day a little girl with no reason to care cared anyway. Across the city, in a cramped apartment above a laundromat, lived a girl named Sky. She was 7 years old, skinny, quiet, with eyes that seemed too old for her face. Her mother worked 2 jobs, mornings at a diner, nights cleaning office buildings. Her father left before Sky could walk. No goodbye, no explanation, just gone. The apartment was small, 1 bedroom, a couch that folded out into a bed, a kitchen with a fridge that hummed too loud. But it was home. Sky didn't complain. Ever. When other kids at school bragged about new toys, she stayed quiet. When they talked about family vacations, she nodded and smiled. She knew her mom was trying, and that was enough. But Sky was different. In ways even her mom didn't fully understand. She noticed things, like when her teacher said she was fine, but her hand shook when she picked up her coffee, or when a classmate smiled but had red eyes from crying in the bathroom. Sky saw through people, not in a mean way, in a way that made her want to help. One day a kid in her class tripped and scraped his knee. He didn't cry, just sat there staring at the blood. Everyone else kept playing, but Sky walked over, sat down next to him, and stayed there until he felt better. She didn't say much. She didn't have to. He just looked at her and nodded. "Thanks." Her mom noticed it too. "You got a gift, baby," she said one night while folding laundry. "You feel people. You know when something's wrong before they even say it." Sky shrugged. "I just pay attention. It's more than that." Sky didn't argue, but she didn't understand it either. All she knew was that when someone was hurting, she felt it. Like a pull. Like something inside her said, "Go help." At school, teachers called her sweet. Classmates called her nice. But Sky didn't think she was special. She just did what felt right. One afternoon, she was walking home from school, backpack dragging on the ground because it was too heavy. She passed by a woman sitting on a bench, staring at nothing. Sky stopped. The woman wasn't crying, wasn't talking, just sitting. But Sky felt it. The sadness, the weight. She walked up slowly. "Are you okay?" The woman blinked, surprised. "I'm fine, sweetie." Sky didn't move. "You sure?" The woman's eyes filled with tears. "My mom just passed." Sky sat down next to her. Didn't say anything. Just sat there. After a few minutes, the woman wiped her eyes. "Thank you." Sky nodded and walked home. That night, her mom asked how school was. "Good," Sky said. "Anything happen?" Sky thought about the woman on the bench. "I helped someone." Her mom smiled. "You always do." Sky didn't know it yet, but that instinct, that pull to help people, was preparing her for something bigger, something that would change 2 lives forever. She didn't know that across town, a little girl sat in a mansion, trapped in silence, waiting for someone to notice what everyone else missed. She didn't know that one day she'd walk past that girl on the street, and she wouldn't keep walking, she'd stop, she'd feel that same pull, and she'd do what no doctor, no specialist, no amount of money could do. She'd find the truth. But that day hadn't come yet. For now, Sky was just a kid with a heavy backpack, walking home to a small apartment, unaware that destiny was already watching her, waiting. The billionaire's mansion sat on a hill like a castle, iron gates, security cameras, marble floors that echoed when you walked. Sky's apartment sat above a laundromat. The walls were thin, the floor creaked, the window didn't close all the way. 2 kids, same city, completely different worlds. The billionaire's daughter ate meals prepared by a private chef. Sky ate cereal for dinner when her mom worked late. The billionaire's daughter had a closet full of dresses she'd never wear. Sky had 3 outfits she rotated through the week. The billionaire's daughter rode in the back of a black SUV with tinted windows. Sky took the city bus, clutching her backpack on her lap. They'd never met, never even seen each other, but fate was already pulling their stories together. One afternoon, the billionaire drove through Sky's neighborhood on the way to a business meeting. He stared out the window at the cracked sidewalks, the graffiti on the walls, the kids playing in the street with a half-flat basketball. He didn't stop, didn't think twice about it. But Sky was there, walking home from school, backpack hanging off one shoulder. She glanced at the black SUV as it passed. For a second, their worlds were 5 feet apart. Then the SUV turned the corner and disappeared. A few weeks later, Sky's mom took her across town to clean an office building near the rich neighborhood. Sky sat in the lobby doing homework on the floor while her mom vacuumed upstairs. Through the glass doors, she could see the mansion on the hill. "Who lives there?" she asked when her mom came back down. Her mom glanced outside. "Rich people. Are they happy?" Her mom paused. "I don't know, baby. Money doesn't fix everything." Sky stared at the mansion a little longer, then went back to her homework. Inside that mansion, the billionaire's daughter sat by her bedroom window, looking down at the city below. She watched cars drive by, watched people walk their dogs, watched the world move, but she couldn't hear any of it. Sometimes she wondered what it sounded like down there. Did car horns sound angry? Did dogs sound happy? Did people's voices sound different from each other? She'd never know. Her father walked into her room and sat beside her. "What are you looking at?" he signed. She pointed at the city. "Do you want to go down there?" he signed. She nodded. He hesitated. He didn't like taking her out. Too many people. Too many stairs. Too many questions he didn't have answers for, but he couldn't keep her locked up forever. "Okay," he signed. "Tomorrow." She smiled. The next day they drove into the city. Just the 2 of them. He took her to a park, let her walk around, let her feel normal for a little while. She sat on a bench watching kids play soccer. One of them kicked the ball too hard. It rolled toward her. A boy ran over, out of breath. "Can you kick it back?" She stared at him. He repeated it, louder. She didn't move. The boy frowned, grabbed the ball, and ran off. Her father saw the whole thing. He sat down beside her and she leaned into him. He kissed the top of her head, wishing he could take her pain away. Across the park, Sky was there too, playing on the swings with a friend from school. She didn't notice the billionaire's daughter. Not yet. But fate was getting closer. 2 kids. 2 lives. 1 moment away from colliding. And when they finally did, everything would change. Sky didn't think she was special, but everyone around her knew something was different. Her teacher noticed it first. One day in class, a boy named Marcus sat quietly at his desk, head down. "Marcus, you okay?" the teacher asked. "Yeah," he muttered. The teacher moved on, but Sky didn't. She walked over during free time and sat next to him. "What's wrong?" she asked softly. "Nothing. You're lying." Marcus looked up, surprised. "How do you know?" "I just do." He stared at her for a second. Then his lips started trembling. "My dog died yesterday." Sky nodded. "I'm sorry." She didn't say anything else, just sat with him until he felt a little better. The teacher watched from across the room, amazed. It happened again a week later. A girl named Emma smiled all day, laughing, joking with friends. But when Sky walked past her in the hallway, she stopped. "You okay?" Sky asked. Emma's smile faded. "Yeah, why?" "You look sad." "I'm not." Sky tilted her head. "Yes, you are." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "My parents are getting divorced." Sky hugged her. No words, just a hug. Emma cried into her shoulder, and Sky stood there until she was done. Her mom asked her about it one night. "How do you always know when someone's hurting?" Sky shrugged. "I just feel it." "What do you mean?" "I don't know. It's like when someone's sad, I can tell. Even if they're smiling." Her mom studied her face. "That's a gift, baby." "It doesn't feel like a gift." "Why not?" "Because it hurts. When they hurt, I hurt." Her mom pulled her close. "That means you got a big heart. Don't ever lose that." Sky nodded, but she didn't fully understand. All she knew was that when someone needed help, she couldn't ignore it. It was like a pull, a voice inside her that said, "Go, help them." And she always listened. One day she was walking home from school and saw a man sitting on the curb, head in his hands. She almost kept walking, but the pull was too strong. She stopped in front of him. "Are you okay?" He looked up, confused. "I'm fine, kid." "No, you're not." He stared at her. Then he laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. "You're right, I'm not." "What happened?" "Lost my job today." Sky sat down next to him. "That sucks." "Yeah, it does." They sat in silence for a minute. Then he looked at her. "Why'd you stop?" "I don't know. I just knew you needed someone." He nodded slowly. "Thanks, kid." Sky stood up and kept walking. She didn't know his name, didn't know if he'd be okay, but she hoped he would. Her mom was right. It was a gift, but it was also heavy. Because Sky couldn't turn it off. She felt everything, everyone, and one day that gift would lead her to someone who needed her more than anyone ever had. A little girl trapped in silence. A little girl everyone had tried to help but failed. A little girl with something hidden, something wrong, something no one else could find, except Sky. Because Sky didn't just see people, she felt them. And when she finally stood face to face with the billionaire's daughter, she'd feel something that made her stop, made her kneel down, made her reach out, and everything would change. But that moment was still ahead. For now, Sky was just a kid, walking home carrying a gift she didn't fully understand, waiting for the day it would matter most. It was a Tuesday afternoon, warm, sunny, normal. The billionaire's daughter stood outside the mansion gates waiting for her driver. Her father was inside, taking a business call. Her nanny had stepped away for just a minute. For the first time in months, she was alone. She didn't mind. She liked watching the world move. Cars passed by. People walked their dogs. A jogger ran past, earbuds in, nodding to music she couldn't hear. She stepped a little closer to the sidewalk, curious. A woman walked by pushing a stroller. The baby inside was crying. The billionaire's daughter watched the woman lean down and say something. The baby stopped crying instantly. She wondered what the woman had said. What words could stop tears that fast? She took another step forward, now standing right at the edge of the property. That's when Sky turned the corner. She was walking home from school, backpack hanging low, dragging on the ground behind her. She was tired, Her math test had been hard. Her stomach was growling because she'd given half her lunch to a kid who forgot his. But then she saw her, a little girl in a red dress standing alone near a mansion gate. Sky slowed down. Something felt off. The girl wasn't moving, wasn't looking around for her parents, just standing there, staring at nothing. Sky stopped completely. She didn't know why, she just felt it. That pull, the same pull she felt every time someone needed help. She walked toward the girl slowly. The billionaire's daughter noticed her approaching. She turned her head, eyes wide, studying Sky's face. Most kids would have said, "Hi," but Sky didn't. She could tell this girl was different. She saw the hearing device behind her ear, saw the way the girl watched her lips, not her eyes. Sky stopped a few feet away and smiled. The girl blinked, surprised. Nobody usually smiled at her without speaking first. Sky pointed at the girl's dress and gave a thumbs up. Nice dress. The billionaire's daughter looked down at her red dress, then back at Sky. She smiled. Small. Shy. Sky took a step closer and sat down on the curb. The girl hesitated, then sat down next to her. They didn't talk, didn't sign, just sat. Sky glanced at her again, studying her face. The girl looked okay, but something felt wrong. Sky couldn't explain it. It was the same feeling she got when someone said they were fine, but wasn't. She noticed the girl's hand drift toward her ear, just for a second, then stop, like she wanted to touch it, but was scared to. Sky's eyes narrowed. She leaned a little closer. The girl turned toward her, confused. Sky pointed at her ear gently. "Does it hurt?" The girl froze. Nobody had ever asked her that before. Not her parents. Not her doctors. Not anyone. She nodded. Slowly, Sky's chest tightened. She didn't know what was wrong, but she knew something was. She reached out her hand, palm up. "Can I look?" The girl stared at Sky's hand. She'd been touched by doctors 100 times, poked, scanned, tested. But this felt different. This girl wasn't a doctor. She was just a kid. Like her. The billionaire's daughter took Sky's hand, and in that moment everything shifted. Sky felt it stronger now. The pull. The certainty. Something was wrong, and she was supposed to fix it. She didn't know how yet, but she would. Because fate hadn't brought them together by accident. It brought them together because Sky was the only one who would stop. The only one who would notice. The only one who would care enough to look closer. And what she was about to find would change everything. Sky didn't let go of the girl's hand. She just held it. Gently. The billionaire's daughter looked down at their hands, confused but not scared. Nobody ever just held her hand like this, like she mattered, like she was normal. Sky scooted closer. The girl watched her carefully. Sky pointed at herself. "Sky." She said it slowly so the girl could read her lips. The girl pointed at herself and signed her name. Sky didn't know sign language, but she nodded anyway. She understood enough. The girl smiled a little bigger this time. Sky looked at the hearing device again. The girl's hand had drifted back toward it twice now. Sky pointed at her ear and made a face like it hurt. "Does it?" The girl nodded, fast, like she'd been waiting for someone to ask. Sky leaned in closer, squinting. There was a little redness behind the device. Not much, but enough. She touched the girl's shoulder softly. "Hold still, okay?" The girl understood. Sky moved slowly. She didn't want to scare her. She reached up and gently touched the area around the device. Not the device itself, just near it. The girl flinched. Sky pulled back. "Sorry," but the girl shook her head. She grabbed Sky's hand and put it back near her ear. She wanted Sky to keep going. Sky's heart pounded. She didn't know what she was looking for, but she trusted the feeling, that pull, that voice inside her that said, "Keep going, something's there." She pressed lightly behind the device, and the girl winced again. Sky froze. There, right there. It wasn't just sore. Something was wrong. She looked the girl in the eyes. Something's in there. I can feel it. The girl stared at her, eyes wide. Sky didn't know if she understood, but it didn't matter. She had to check. She moved her fingers carefully, feeling around the edges of the device, and then she felt it. Something hard, small, metallic. Her breath caught. It wasn't part of the hearing device. It was something else, something that didn't belong. Sky's hands started shaking. What is that? She looked at the girl. Did the doctors put this here? The girl shook her head. She didn't know. Sky's mind raced. How long had it been there? Why didn't anyone notice? She pressed a little harder, trying to feel how deep it was. The girl grabbed Sky's wrist, not to stop her, but to brace herself. Sky's chest tightened. This is hurting you, isn't it? The girl nodded, tears filling her eyes. Not crying, just relieved, like someone finally believed her. Sky swallowed hard. She didn't know what to do. She wasn't a doctor. She was just a kid. But she couldn't leave it there. Whatever it was causing pain. And it didn't belong. She looked the girl in the eyes. I'm gonna try to get it out, okay? The girl hesitated, then she nodded. Sky took a deep breath. Her hands were still shaking, but she steadied them. She hooked her finger gently behind the device, feeling for the object. It was wedged in tight, too tight. She'd have to pull. Are you ready? The girl squeezed her eyes shut and nodded. Sky counted in her head. 1, 2, 3. She pulled. The girl gasped silently, mouth open, body stiff. And then, footsteps, heavy, fast, getting closer. Sky's head snapped up. A man was running toward them. Big, leather jacket, boots pounding the pavement. He looked terrified. Sky's heart stopped. Was he coming to help or to stop her? A massive man is running straight at them. Sky's about to pull something out that's been hidden for years. Comment below. Would you run or would you stay and help? Most people would run, but if you're still watching, you're not most people. Tap subscribe because you need to see what Sky pulls out and why this man is so terrified. The man was huge, beard, tattoos on his arms, leather vest, boots that made the ground shake. He was sprinting straight toward them. Sky's first instinct was to run, but the girl grabbed her wrist, hard. Don't leave me. Sky stayed. The man's face was twisted, but not with anger, with fear. He skidded to a stop in front of them, breathing hard. Don't touch that, he shouted. The billionaire's daughter flinched at the loudness even though she couldn't hear him. Sky stood up, putting herself between the man and the girl. I'm helping her, Sky said, voice shaking. You don't understand. She's in pain. The man froze. His eyes darted to the girl, then back to Sky. I know, he said quietly. I know she is. Sky blinked. Then why are you yelling at me? Because if you pull that out wrong, it could... He stopped himself. Took a breath. Just let me explain. Sky didn't move. Explain what? The man knelt down, trying to look less scary. It didn't work. I'm not here to hurt her, he said. I'm here because I've been trying to help her for months. Who are you? I work security for her family. Well, I drive her sometimes. Watch the house. Sky frowned. If you work for them, why didn't you tell them something's wrong? His jaw tightened. I did. Nobody listened. Why not? Because they think I'm just some guy who rides a motorcycle and looks like trouble. They don't take me seriously. Sky studied his face. He wasn't lying, she could tell. What's in her ear? She asked. He hesitated. I don't know exactly, but I noticed something weeks ago. She kept touching it, wincing. I told her parents, I told the doctors. And they said I was imagining things, that the device was fine, that she was just adjusting. Sky looked back at the girl, She was watching them both, trying to read their lips. "She's not adjusting," Sky said. "Something's stuck in there." The man nodded. "I know. I've been looking for a way to prove it, but nobody will listen to me." "Then why stop me?" "Because I don't want you to get blamed if something goes wrong." Sky's chest tightened. "I have to try." "I know." His voice cracked. "I've been waiting for someone to try." He looked at the girl, eyes filling with guilt. "I'm sorry I couldn't do more." The girl reached out and touched his hand. He almost broke down right there. Sky sat back down next to the girl. "I'm gonna get it out." The man nodded. "Be careful. Please." Sky looked at him. "If something goes wrong, it's not your fault. And it's not yours either." She nodded. The girl looked between them, then grabbed both their hands. She trusted them. Both of them. Even though one was a stranger and the other had failed to protect her, she trusted them because they were the only ones who saw her pain. Sky took a deep breath. "Okay, I'm doing it now." The man stayed close, ready to help if needed. The girl closed her eyes, and Sky reached for the object again. This time she wasn't stopping. No matter who came running, no matter what happened next, she was getting it out, because no one else would. Sky shut everything else out. The man, the street, the cars passing by. All that mattered was the girl in front of her. She positioned herself carefully, kneeling on both knees now. The girl opened her eyes and looked directly at Sky. There was fear there, but also hope. Sky gave her a small nod. "I got you." The girl nodded back. Sky looked at the man. "If I hurt her, stop me." "I will." Sky turned back to the girl and gently moved her hair aside. The hearing device sat snug behind her ear. The skin around it was red, swollen. How had nobody noticed this? How had doctors missed it? Sky touched the area lightly. The girl flinched but didn't pull away. "I know it hurts," Sky whispered. "I'm sorry." The girl squeezed her eyes shut, bracing herself. Sky slid her finger behind the device again, feeling for the object. There. Small. Hard. Wedged deep. Her heart pounded. What if I make it worse? But then she looked at the girl's face. The pain. The exhaustion. She'd been living with this for who knows how long. Sky had to try. She hooked her fingernail carefully around the edge of the object. The girl's breathing quickened. Sky paused. "You okay?" The girl nodded quickly. "Keep going." Sky pulled. Gently. Slowly. It didn't move. She tried again. A little harder this time. The girl whimpered silently, her mouth opening in a voiceless cry. The man leaned forward. "Maybe we should—" "Almost," Sky cut him off. "Almost." She adjusted her grip and pulled one more time. The object shifted. Just a little, but enough. The girl gasped, tears streaming down her face. Sky's hands were shaking now. "One more, I promise. One more." The girl grabbed Sky's knee, holding on tight. Sky took a breath, then pulled. The object slid free. The girl's body went limp, like a weight had been lifted off her. Sky fell backward, the object clutched in her hand. The man caught her before she hit the ground. "You did it," he breathed. "You actually did it." Sky opened her palm. The object was small, metallic, sharp on one end. It looked like a tiny piece of a tracking device, or a bug, something electronic. But it wasn't medical. It wasn't supposed to be there. Sky stared at it, confused. "What is this?" The man's face went pale. "I don't know, but someone put it there." "On purpose?" He didn't answer. The girl sat up slowly, touching the side of her head where the object had been. No more pressure, no more pain. She looked at Sky, eyes wide. Then something happened. A car honked down the street. The girl's head turned, not because she saw it, because she heard it, faint, distant, but there. Her mouth opened in shock. Sky noticed. What? What's wrong? The girl pointed at her ear, then at the street. The man's breath caught. Did you just… The girl nodded, tears spilling over. She heard something. For the first time in her life, she heard something. She just heard her first sound. Ever. After 7 years of complete silence. But here's what nobody's talking about yet. Comment this. Why was that chip in her ear in the first place? Who put it there? And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because the person responsible is closer than anyone thinks. And the truth is, about to destroy this family, Sky's eyes filled with tears. You heard that? The girl nodded again, sobbing now. Sky pulled her into a hug, and the girl clung to her like she was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. The man covered his face with his hands, shoulders shaking, and for a moment, the three of them just sat there on the sidewalk. A miracle unfolding in the middle of an ordinary street. The girl pulled back from the hug, breathing hard. She touched her ear again, gently, like she couldn't believe it. Sky watched her, heart pounding. Can you really hear? Sky asked softly. The girl nodded, then shook her head, then nodded again. She was confused, overwhelmed. The man leaned closer. What do you hear? The girl pointed at a bird in a nearby tree. She could hear it chirping, barely, but it was there. Then she pointed at the wind moving through the leaves. She heard that too. Tears kept streaming down her face. Sky looked at the object in her hand. This was blocking her hearing? The man took it from her carefully, studying it. It must have been pressing on something. A nerve. Something important. But why would someone put it there? He didn't answer. His face went dark. Sky's stomach twisted. You know something. I have suspicions. Tell me. Not here. Not now. The girl grabbed Sky's hand, squeezing it tight. Sky looked at her. What's wrong? The girl pointed at the mansion gate. Someone was coming. Footsteps. Fast. Multiple people. The man stood up quickly. Her father. Sky's heart jumped into her throat. A man in a suit burst through the gate, eyes wild. Behind him were 2 security guards and a woman who looked like a nanny. The billionaire saw his daughter sitting on the sidewalk and ran. What happened? He shouted. Who are you? He looked at Sky, then at the man, panic flooding his face. The girl stood up and ran to her father. He dropped to his knees, grabbing her, checking her over. Are you okay? Are you hurt? She nodded, then shook her head. He pulled back, confused. What does that mean? She pointed at her ear. His face went pale. Your hearing device? Did something happen to it? She nodded. He looked at Sky, anger flashing in his eyes. What did you do? Sky stepped back, scared. The man in the leather vest stepped forward. She helped her, sir. I didn't ask you. You should have. I've been telling you for weeks something was wrong. The billionaire's jaw clenched. I told you to stay in your lane. And I told you she was in pain. The billionaire ignored him and turned back to Sky. Did you touch her device? Sky nodded, voice trembling. There was something behind it. What? She held out the metallic object. The billionaire stared at it. His face went from anger to confusion to horror in seconds. Where did that come from? It was stuck behind her hearing device, Sky said. It was hurting her. The billionaire took the object, hands shaking. He recognized it. Sky could tell. What is it? She asked. He didn't answer. He just stared at it like it was a bomb. The girl tugged on his sleeve. He looked down at her, eyes filling with tears. Baby, I'm so sorry. She tilted her head, confused. Then a dog barked across the street. The girl's head snapped toward the sound. The billionaire froze. Did you just… She nodded. His breath caught. You heard that. She nodded again, smiling through tears. He pulled. her into his arms, holding her so tight she almost disappeared. And he sobbed. Right there on the sidewalk, in front of everyone, because for the first time in years his daughter heard something, and he knew exactly who was responsible. Not the doctors, not the specialists. A little girl who stopped when no one else did. The billionaire stood up slowly, still holding the metallic object. His face had gone from relief to something else. Rage. He turned to the security guards. Find out who had access to her hearing device. Sir? Now. The guards hesitated, then pulled out their phones and walked away. The nanny stepped forward, voice shaking. Mr. Carter, I don't understand. Neither do I, he cut her off, but I'm going to. He looked down at his daughter. She was touching her ear, smiling every time she heard a new sound. A car engine, footsteps, a voice. She looked at him and signed something. He read her hands and his chest tightened. I can hear a little bit. He pulled her close again, kissing the top of her head. Then he looked at Sky. She was standing a few feet away, clutching her backpack, looking terrified. He walked over and knelt in front of her. What's your name? Sky, she whispered. How old are you? 7. He stared at her, trying to process it. You're 7 years old and you found something a team of doctors missed? She nodded. How? I just felt it. Something was wrong. He shook his head in disbelief. Do you know what you just did? She shook her head. You gave my daughter something I couldn't. Something money couldn't buy. Sky's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Trouble? His voice cracked. You saved her. Sky looked at the girl who was watching them both. The billionaire followed her gaze, then looked back at the object in his hand. His jaw clenched. This wasn't an accident, he said quietly. The man in the leather vest stepped closer. That's what I've been trying to tell you. The billionaire looked at him. You knew? I suspected. I noticed the swelling weeks ago. Told you. Told the doctors. Nobody listened. Why didn't you push harder? I did. You told me to back off. The billionaire's face twisted with guilt. You're right. I did. He looked at the object again, turning it over in his hand. It wasn't just a piece of metal. It had small engravings on it. Numbers. Letters. A serial code. Someone made this. Someone placed it. Who did her last device fitting? He asked the nanny. Dr. Brennan, 3 months ago. Get him on the phone, now. Sir, it's almost 6. I don't care what time it is. Get him. The nanny pulled out her phone, hands shaking. The billionaire turned back to Sky. Where do you live? A few miles from here. Does your mom know where you are? Sky's face went pale. No, I was walking home from school. She's probably worried. Sky nodded. I need to go. Wait. He pulled out his wallet and handed her a card. This has my number. I want to talk to you and your mom. Soon. Sky stared at the card. Why? Because you did something no one else could. And I don't forget that. Sky took the card, hands trembling. The girl ran over and hugged Sky one more time. Sky hugged her back, tight. Thank you, the billionaire said quietly. Sky nodded and turned to leave, but before she could, the man in the leather vest called out, Hey kid. She turned. You're braver than most adults I know. Sky smiled a little, then ran down the street toward home. The billionaire watched her go, then looked at his daughter. She was still smiling, still hearing, and he was about to find out who tried to take that away from her. Sky ran the whole way home. Her backpack bounced on her shoulders, her lungs burned, but she didn't stop. She burst through the apartment door, gasping for air. Her mom was in the kitchen, stirring a pot on the stove. She turned, startled. Baby, where have you been? You're late. I helped someone. Her mom frowned. Who? A girl. She was in pain. What kind of pain? Sky dropped her backpack and sat at the small table. Something was stuck in her ear, behind her hearing device. Her mom turned off the stove and sat down across from her. You pulled something out of a stranger's ear? Sky nodded. Sky. I know. But Mom, she needed help, and nobody else saw it. Her mom studied her face. She wasn't angry, just worried. What did you pull out? I don't know. Some kind of metal thing. Her dad took it. Her dad? Yeah, he was really rich. Like mansion on a hill rich. Her mom's eyes widened. Sky, you can't just go around touching people. I didn't hurt her. I helped her. I know you did. But rich people, they don't always see things the way we do. He wasn't mad. He thanked me. Her mom sighed, rubbing her temples. Did he ask where you live? No, but he gave me his card. Said he wants to talk to us. She pulled the card out of her pocket and slid it across the table. Her mom picked it up, eyes going wide. James Carter? You know him? Everyone knows him. He owns half the city. Sky shrugged. He was just a dad, a scared one. Her mom stared at the card for a long moment. Then she looked at Sky. What exactly happened out there? Sky told her everything. The girl standing alone, the pull she felt, the object she found. Her mom listened without interrupting. When Sky finished, her mom reached across the table and took her hand. You have a gift, baby. I've always known that. But you have to be careful. Why? Because not everyone wants help, and not everyone will understand what you can do. The girl understood. I know. But her world is different from ours. Sky looked down at the table. Does that mean I shouldn't have helped her? Her mom squeezed her hand. No. It means you did exactly what you were supposed to do. Sky looked up. Really? Really, I'm proud of you. Sky smiled. Her mom stood up and went back to the stove. Now go wash your hands. Dinner's almost ready. Sky went to the bathroom, but she couldn't stop thinking about the girl, about the way she smiled when she heard the bird, about the way her dad cried when he held her, about the metallic object and the look on his face when he saw it. Something about that object scared him. Sky didn't know what it was, but she felt it. The same way she felt everything else, and she had a feeling this wasn't over. That night, after dinner, Sky lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her mom had tucked her in and kissed her forehead like always. But Sky couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the girl, wondering if she was okay, wondering what would happen next. Then her phone buzzed. She didn't have a phone. Her mom did. She heard her mom answer in the other room. Hello? A pause. Yes, this is her mother. Another pause. Tomorrow? I work tomorrow. Sky sat up, listening. Okay, yes, we'll be there. Her mom hung up. Sky got out of bed and peeked into the living room. Her mom was sitting on the couch staring at her phone. Who was that? Sky asked. Her mom looked up. Mr. Carter, he wants to meet us tomorrow. Why? Her mom hesitated. I don't know yet, but we're going to find out. The next morning, Sky and her mom stood outside the mansion gates. Sky had never been this close before. The iron bars were taller than she imagined. Her mom pressed the buzzer. A voice crackled through the speaker. Name? Sky and her mother. Mr. Carter is expecting us. The gates buzzed and swung open slowly. They walked up the long driveway. Sky stared at the fountain, the perfectly trimmed hedges, the marble steps leading to the front door. Her mom squeezed her hand. Stay close. The door opened before they reached it. The billionaire stood there. No suit today, just jeans and a wrinkled shirt. He looked like he hadn't slept. Thank you for coming, he said. Sky's mom nodded. Of course. He stepped aside. Please, come in. They walked into a massive foyer, marble floors, a chandelier that looked like it cost more than their entire apartment building. Sky tried not to stare. The billionaire led them into a living room. His daughter was sitting on the couch, coloring. When she saw Sky, her face lit up. She jumped off the couch and ran over, hugging Sky tight. Sky hugged her back, smiling. The billionaire watched them, his expression softening. She hasn't stopped talking about you, he said. Sky's mom blinked. She can talk? She can sign, but yesterday, she reacted to sounds. Real sounds. For the first time. Sky's mom looked at Sky, eyes wide. The billionaire gestured toward the couch. Please, sit. They sat down. The girl climbed onto the couch next to Sky, staying close. The billionaire sat across from them. He looked exhausted. Broken. I owe you an explanation, he said. Sky's mom nodded. We're listening. He pulled the metallic object out of his pocket and set it on the coffee table. This was lodged behind my daughter's hearing device. Your daughter found it. Sky's mom stared at it. What is it? A tracking chip. Custom made. Expensive. Why would someone put that in her ear? His jaw clenched. That's what I'm trying to figure out. You think someone did this on purpose? I know they did. The room went silent. Sky looked at the girl. She was coloring again, unaware of the conversation. Who would do that? Sky's mom asked. Someone close. Someone with access. Do you know who? He shook his head. Not yet. But I will. Sky's mom leaned forward. Mr. Carter, why are we here? He looked at Sky. Because your daughter saw something no one else did. Not the doctors, not the specialists, not me. She's observant. She's more than that. He paused. I want to help you. Both of you. Sky's mom stiffened. We don't need charity. It's not charity, it's gratitude. We're fine. Are you? The question hung in the air. Sky's mom looked away. The billionaire softened his voice. I'm not trying to insult you. I just want to make sure Sky has everything she needs. School, opportunities, whatever she wants. Why? Because she gave my daughter something I couldn't. And I don't take that lightly. Sky's mom's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. She nodded slowly. The girl tugged on Sky's sleeve. Sky looked at her. The girl pointed at her ear, then gave a thumbs up. Sky smiled. It doesn't hurt anymore? The girl shook her head. Then she did something that made everyone stop. She opened her mouth and whispered, Thank you. Her voice was soft, scratchy, unsure, but it was there. The billionaire's breath caught. Baby, you just spoke. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. He pulled her into his arms, sobbing into her hair. Sky's mom covered her mouth, crying too. Sky just stared, heart pounding. The girl had heard her own voice, for the first time ever, and everything was about to change. The billionaire couldn't stop shaking. He held his daughter like she might disappear if he let go. She pulled back and looked at him, confused by his tears. He signed to her. You spoke. Do you understand? You spoke. She nodded, touching her throat, surprised by the vibration she felt. Sky watched from the couch, her own eyes wet. The front door opened, heavy boots on marble. The man in the leather vest walked in, stopping when he saw everyone crying. What happened? The billionaire looked up. She spoke. The man froze. What? She said thank you. Out loud. The man's face crumpled. He walked over slowly and knelt beside the girl. She looked at him and smiled. He covered his face with his hands. His shoulders shook. The billionaire put a hand on his back. I owe you an apology. The man shook his head, voice breaking. You don't. I do. You tried to tell me. I didn't listen. You were scared. I get it. That's no excuse. The man wiped his eyes. I failed her. For weeks I knew something was wrong and I couldn't prove it. You didn't fail her. You kept trying when everyone else gave up. The man looked at the girl. I should have done more. She reached out and touched his hand. He lost it, sobbing like a child. She didn't understand why, but she hugged him anyway. The billionaire looked at Sky's mom. That's Marcus. He's been with us for 3 years. Drives. Does security. Watches over her like she's his own. Marcus wiped his face, embarrassed. Sorry. I don't apologize, Sky's mom said gently. You care about her, that's obvious. He nodded, standing up. I just wish I could have stopped it sooner. You tried, the billionaire said. That's more than most people did. Marcus looked at Sky. You're the one who figured it out. Sky shrugged. I just felt something was wrong. That's more than feeling. That's a gift. The girl tugged on Marcus's sleeve. He looked down. She signed something. He read her hands and smiled. You want me to stay? She nodded. I'm not going anywhere, kid. She hugged him again. The billionaire stood up, walking to the window. He stared out at the driveway. Someone did this to her, he said quietly. Someone I trusted. Marcus crossed his arms. You have a list? A short one. Who? Dr. Brennan. The nanny. A few people from the medical team. You really think one of them? I don't know what to think, but that chip didn't get there by accident. Sky's mom shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we should go. No, the billionaire said, turning around. Please stay. I need you here. Why? Because your daughter is the only reason we found out. And if someone's willing to hurt my child, I need people around me I can trust. You just met us. I know, but Sky did something no one else would. That tells me everything I need to know. Sky's mom hesitated. We can't get involved in... I'm not asking you to. I'm just asking you to stay, for a little while. Marcus nodded. He's right. If someone did this, they might come back. Sky's mom looked at Sky. What do you think? Sky looked at the girl. She was smiling, happy, free. I think we should stay, Sky said. Her mom sighed. Okay, but just for today. The billionaire nodded. That's all I'm asking. The girl climbed back onto the couch next to Sky. She picked up her crayons and started coloring again, but this time she hummed. Quiet. Off-key. But it was sound. Her sound. And everyone in the room stopped to listen. An hour later, tires screeched outside. Everyone looked toward the window. A black SUV skidded to a stop in the driveway. The billionaire's face went pale. That's my wife. The front door flew open. A woman in a business suit stormed in, heels clicking fast on the marble. James, what the hell is going on? You called me out of a meeting. She stopped when she saw everyone in the living room. Her daughter. Marcus. 2 strangers on the couch. Who are they? She asked. The billionaire walked over. Honey, sit down. I don't want to sit down. I want to know what's happening. He took her hand. Our daughter can hear. She blinked. What? She can hear. Not perfectly, but she's hearing sounds. His wife looked at their daughter, who was still coloring on the couch. That's impossible. It's not. Show her, baby. The girl looked up. Her mother clapped her hands. The girl's head turned toward the sound. Her mother's legs gave out. The billionaire caught her, lowering her onto a chair. How? She whispered. He pulled the metallic object from his pocket. This was blocking her hearing. It was lodged behind her device. His wife stared at it. Where did that come from? I don't know yet, but someone put it there. Her face went from shock to rage. Who? I'm working on it. She looked at Sky. Who are you? That's Sky, the billionaire said. She found it. She pulled it out. His wife stood up and walked over to Sky. Sky shrank back, scared, but the woman knelt down, tears streaming down her face. You did this? Sky nodded. The woman pulled her into a hug so tight Sky could barely breathe. Thank you, she sobbed. Thank you so much. Sky didn't know what to say, so she just hugged her back. The woman pulled away, wiping her eyes. I don't know how to repay you. You don't have to, Sky said quietly. Yes, I do. She looked at Sky's mom. What's your name? Angela. Angela, your daughter is a miracle. Angela smiled softly. She's special. I've always known that. The billionaire's wife stood up and looked at her husband. We need to find out who did this. I know. Now, James. Not tomorrow. Now. He nodded. I've already made calls. Marcus stepped forward. I can help. She looked at him, surprised. You knew? I suspected. Nobody listened. Her face softened. I'm sorry. It's fine. What matters is she's okay now. The girl got up from the couch and walked over to her mother. Her mother knelt down, pulling her close. The girl opened her mouth. Mama. The word was barely a whisper, shaky, uncertain. But it was there. Her mother broke down completely. She held her daughter, sobbing into her hair, whispering things no one else could hear. The billionaire watched them, tears sliding down his face. Marcus turned away, wiping his eyes. Sky grabbed her mom's hand. Angela squeezed back, both of them crying now. After a long moment, the billionaire's wife stood up, still holding her daughter. She looked at Sky. You're not leaving our lives, you understand? Sky nodded. I mean it. Whatever you need. School, college, anything. We'll talk about it, Angela said gently. There's nothing to talk about. She saved our daughter. Angela didn't argue. The billionaire walked over to the window, phone in hand. I'm calling Dr. Brennan. He's the last person who touched her device. His wife nodded. Do it. He dialed. It rang 3 times. Then a man's voice answered. Mr. Carter, we need to talk. Now. Is everything okay? No, it's not. There was a pause. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The billionaire hung up. He looked at Marcus. When he gets here, I want you in the room. Marcus nodded. You got it. The girl walked over to Sky and took her hand. Sky looked down at her. The girl smiled. And for the first time, Sky realized what she'd done. She hadn't just removed an object. She'd changed a life, maybe even saved it. 20 minutes felt like hours. Everyone sat in silence, waiting. The girl stayed close to Sky, holding her hand. Sky's chest felt tight. She didn't know why. Maybe because she was scared of what was coming. Maybe because she felt like she didn't belong here. A car pulled up outside. The billionaire stood. That's him. Marcus moved toward the door. Dr. Brennan walked in. Mid-50s, gray hair, glasses. He looked calm. Too calm. Mr. Carter, Mrs. Carter. What's this about? The billionaire held up the metallic object. This. Dr. Brennan squinted. What is that? You tell me. You were the last person to fit her hearing device. His face went pale. I don't understand. This was lodged behind her device, blocking her hearing. Dr. Brennan stepped closer, staring at the object. That's impossible. I would have noticed. You didn't. I ran every test. You missed it. Dr. Brennan looked at the girl. Is she okay? She can hear now, after 7 years. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. How? The billionaire pointed at Sky. A 7-year-old found what you couldn't. Dr. Brennan looked at Sky. His expression shifted. Confusion, shame. I don't know what to say. Start with the truth. Did you put this there? What? No. Then how did it get there? I don't know. Marcus stepped forward. You're lying. Dr. Brennan turned to him. I'm not. Then explain the serial number on that chip. It's medical grade, custom, expensive. Dr. Brennan's face went white. I swear I didn't. Who paid you? The billionaire asked, voice cold. Nobody. Who paid you? Dr. Brennan's hands shook. I didn't do this. The billionaire's wife stood up. Then who did? Dr. Brennan looked at the floor. I don't know. You're lying, Marcus said again. I'm not. Sky watched him, studied his face. He was scared, really scared, but he wasn't lying. She could tell. He didn't do it, Sky said quietly. Everyone turned to her. The billionaire frowned. How do you know? I just do. He's scared, but he's not lying. Dr. Brennan looked at her, eyes wide. Thank you. The billionaire's wife crossed her arms. Then who? Dr. Brennan hesitated. There was someone else in the room during the fitting. Who? Your nanny. The room went silent. Rebecca? The billionaire's wife whispered. Dr. Brennan nodded. She asked to observe. Said she wanted to learn how to help. Marcus's jaw clenched. Where is she now? The billionaire pulled out his phone. I'll find out. He dialed. It rang. No answer. He tried again. Still nothing. His face darkened. She's not picking up. His wife stood. Call security. Find her. The billionaire nodded, making another call. Sky's chest tightened. Something felt wrong. Really wrong. She looked at the girl. She was staring at the door, eyes wide, like she knew something. What is it? Sky asked. The girl pointed toward the hallway. Everyone turned. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. A woman appeared in the doorway, Rebecca, the nanny. She looked calm, too calm. You called for me? She said. The billionaire stood. Where have you been? Running errands. Your phone was off. Battery died? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Marcus moved between her and the girl. Rebecca noticed. Is something wrong? The billionaire held up the chip. You tell me. Her smile faded. For a second, no one moved. Then Rebecca looked at the girl, and her expression changed. Cold, empty. She can hear now, can't she? The billionaire's wife stepped forward. What did you do? Rebecca didn't answer. She just turned and walked toward the door. Marcus blocked her. You're not leaving. She looked at him. Move. Not a chance. The billionaire pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. Rebecca laughed. Go ahead, or you have no proof. We have the chip. That doesn't prove anything. Sky stood up, tears streaming down her face. Why? She asked, voice breaking. Why would you hurt her? Rebecca looked at her. You wouldn't understand. Try me. Rebecca's face twisted. Because she had everything, and I had nothing. The room froze. Rebecca's words hung in the air like poison. The billionaire's wife stepped forward. You hurt my daughter because you were jealous? Rebecca's jaw tightened. You don't know what it's like. Watching her live in luxury while I scraped by on a nanny's salary? You had a job, a good one. A job where I watched someone else's kid have everything I never did. So, you made her suffer? Rebecca looked away. I didn't mean for it to be permanent. What does that mean? The billionaire asked. She hesitated. The chip was supposed to interfere with the device, make her uncomfortable, force you to keep calling specialists. Why? See, because every time you did, I got paid extra to coordinate appointments, to travel with you, to stay involved. Marcus's fists clenched. You kept her in pain for money? I needed it. She was a child. The nanny hurt an innocent child, for money. But what this little girl does next will leave you speechless. Comment below, could you forgive someone who stole years from your life? Be honest. And if this story moved you, subscribe because we need more people who refuse to walk past someone in pain. Sky didn't. And that changed everything. Rebecca's face cracked. I know, okay? It got out of hand. The billionaire's voice was ice. Out of hand? You stole years from her. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. I didn't think it would last this long. I thought someone would find it, but they didn't. No, they didn't. Sky wiped her face. You could have taken it out any time. Rebecca looked at her. I tried once, but she screamed. I got scared. So you left it there. Rebecca nodded, sobbing now. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. The billionaire pulled out his phone. You're going to jail. I know. He dialed. The girl pulled away from her mother and walked toward Rebecca. Everyone tensed. Marcus stepped forward. Sweetheart, don't. But the girl kept walking. She stopped in front of Rebecca. Rebecca knelt down, tears streaming. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The girl stared at her. Then she did something no one expected. She hugged her. Rebecca broke down completely, sobbing into the girl's shoulder. The billionaire's wife covered her mouth, crying. Marcus turned away, wiping his eyes. The girl pulled back and signed something. Rebecca read her hands and shook her head. I don't deserve your forgiveness. The girl signed again. She says you were sad. Dr. Brennan translated quietly. She forgives sad people. Rebecca collapsed onto the floor, unable to hold herself up anymore. The police arrived 10 minutes later. They took Rebecca away in handcuffs. She didn't fight, didn't argue, just looked back at the girl one last time before disappearing into the police car. When the door closed, the billionaire finally exhaled. He walked over to his daughter and knelt down. You didn't have to forgive her. She signed something. He read her hands and smiled through tears. You're a better person than I am. His wife joined them, wrapping her arms around both of them. Marcus stood nearby, hands in his pockets, watching. The billionaire looked up at him. Thank you. For not giving up. Marcus nodded. She's worth it. Then the billionaire turned to Sky. She was standing with her mom, both of them quiet. He walked over. Come here. Sky hesitated. Please. She stepped forward. He knelt down and pulled her into a hug. You saved her, he whispered. You saved my little girl. Sky started crying again. He held her until she stopped shaking. Then he pulled back and looked at Angela. I meant what I said earlier. Whatever you need. Whatever she needs. I'm here. Angela nodded, unable to speak. The girl ran over and hugged Sky from behind. Sky turned and hugged her back. The billionaire's wife joined them. Then Marcus. They all stood there in the middle of the living room, holding each other. A broken family put back together, and a little girl who refused to walk past someone in pain. The billionaire looked around at all of them, his daughter, his wife, Marcus, Sky, Angela. This was his family now, not by blood, but by something stronger, by love, by loyalty, by a miracle that brought them together, and he'd protect them all, no matter what. 3 months later, Sky sat in a classroom she'd never imagined being in. Private school, new uniform, books that didn't have torn pages. The billionaire had kept his promise. Full scholarship, everything paid for. Her mom cried the day they got the acceptance letter, happy tears. At lunch, Sky sat alone at first, old habit. Then someone tapped her shoulder. The billionaire's daughter. She was in the same school now, same grade. She sat down next to Sky and pulled out her lunch. They ate in comfortable silence. Then the girl spoke. Her voice was getting stronger every day. Thank you. Sky smiled. You already said that. I know. But I mean it. I know you do. The girl leaned her head on Sky's shoulder. Other kids stared, whispered. But Sky didn't care. After school, the billionaire's driver picked them both up. Marcus was at the wheel. He worked for the family full-time now. How was school? He asked. Good, Sky said. The girl nodded, signing something. Marcus laughed. Yeah, math is tough. They pulled up to the mansion. Sky's mom was inside, having tea with the billionaire's wife. They'd become friends. Real friends. Angela had quit one of her jobs. The billionaire insisted. You shouldn't have to work yourself to death, he'd said. She argued at first, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. Now she worked part-time and spent the rest of her days with her daughter. Sky walked into the living room. Her mom smiled. How was your day, baby? Good. The billionaire's wife handed her a cookie. We saved you some. Sky took it, sitting down next to her mom. The girl ran upstairs to change. The billionaire came in from his office, tie loosened, looking exhausted. But when he saw everyone, he smiled. Family dinner tonight? He asked. Always, his wife said. Marcus joined them at the table. So did Dr. Brennan, who'd become a regular visitor. He was helping the girl with speech therapy now. They all sat together, laughing, talking, eating, two families that should have never met. But fate had other plans. After dinner, the billionaire pulled Sky aside. I have something for you. He handed her an envelope. She opened it. Inside was a letter and a check. What's this? A scholarship fund, in your name, for other kids like you. Kids who see things others don't. Sky stared at the check. It had more zeros than she could count. I can't. You can, and you will. You're going to help a lot of people, Sky. I know it. Her eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. Say you'll keep being you. She nodded. He hugged her. Thank you. For everything. Later that night, Sky sat on the mansion's front steps. The same steps where the girl used to sit alone, watching the world. Now they sat together. The girl leaned against her. You changed my life. Sky shook her head. You changed mine too. How? You showed me what I'm supposed to do. Help people. Even when it's scary. The girl smiled. A car drove by, music playing. The girl heard it. She closed her eyes, listening. Sky watched her. What's it like? Hearing? Yeah. The girl thought for a moment. Like the world finally makes sense? Sky smiled. They sat there until the sun went down. Two girls from different worlds, brought together by pain, held together by love, and changed forever by a moment that should have never happened, but did, because Sky didn't walk past someone who needed help. She stopped. She cared. She acted. And because of that, a little girl trapped in silence finally heard her father say, I love you. Finally heard her mother's laugh. Finally heard her own voice. And Sky? She finally understood her gift. Not as a burden, but as a purpose. To notice what others miss. To help when others walk away. To be the person someone needs when no one else will. That was her destiny. And it was just beginning.